Hello, ladies, gentlemen, non-binary folks everywhere. Welcome to Action and Adventure, the Hasbro Universe podcast. I'm your host, Daniel.
And I'm your other host, Callum.
And today we have a great episode for you. We have Optimus Prime, number 14, Rom and the Micronauts, number 1, Transformers Till All Are One Annual, Gem Dimensions number 2, Scarlett Strike Force number 1, and finally, Transformers Lost Light number 12. It's a packed week, and we even have news on top of that, so thank you, everybody, for tuning in and getting to hear us talk about the robots and the Joes and all that fun stuff. Callum, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, thank you. Yeah, it's actually we're recording this in 2017, but by the time you're listening to it, it will be 2018.
Yes, so happy New Year.
Show of the New Year. Yeah,
yes,
happy New Year.
Our first episode of the New Year, episode 17, and I think based on this rounds of books, it'll be a mostly good year.
Yeah.
We will get into that in a little bit. But first, as I said at the top, we have some news. Really just one piece of news. We have the March solicitations for IDW in March of 2018. Just a couple new books, nothing really too, nothing
shocking.
Yeah, nothing shocking. First off, we have Transformers Unicron, which we talked about in detail ad nauseum in last episode. So if you want our thoughts on Transformers Unicron, The Darkest Hour, which will be coming out for Free Comic Book Day, tune into our previous episode to get all of our thoughts on that. After that, we have Optimus Prime number 17, Part 3 of The Falling, which of course is the storyline where Onyx Prime is coming back. And apparently he's going to be revealing some dark secrets, but nothing will prepare Optimus Prime and his allies for Onyx's darkest revelation, which I hate to say will probably be Unicron,
It feels like it at this point, but then I also wonder if there's going to be something tying more back into kind of stuff that's gone before. Well, actually, no, because it was last issue was teasing that the whole sort of Optimus blackmailing Soundwave thing is going to come back up again, didn't it? With sort of Leash Maximo being involved. We'll see, I guess. But yeah, we got our kind of nice kind of Casey Collar theme covers continue. They're really nice, these covers, aren't they? With the silhouette, with then the people in grayscale in them. And this one we've got Onyx, Windblade, who is possibly now sort of first delegate Windblade, assuming this is going to be set after the annual. Spoilers for later discussion.
I think so.
Yeah. I don't think her character model is any different. She's not getting, like, a hat or anything as first delegate. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
And Trax and Needlenose. Like, when's the last time they've kind of been doing stuff in Optimus? Or even XRED? It's been a while, isn't it?
Yeah, Needlenose got one of those interview segments in...
he's been on
Optimus Prime 10? 11? What was it?
Primeless, so yeah. Oh, and it was the second one, but Andrew, 12.
Okay.
Yeah, 12.
So yeah.
Been, I think.
But yeah, prior to that, it was just that one focus issue that he and Trax had, so... Yeah. I'm glad to see them, them back.
Yeah.
So...
And then Optimus RC Soundwave, and the Constructicons, who again haven't, I feel, appeared for a while. Devastator was last doing stuff during... Till all
Combiner Wars.
Titan. Devastator turned up in Titan's Return in, it didn't say on the cover, but during Till All Our One's Titan's Return story, he was, there's the whole the big moment where Stryker catches the Devastator punch, and it's really cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, there was that.
I think that's the last time Devastator or the Constructicons was around. And it does raise the interesting question, I now realise, of just who will Devastator be loyal to now? Because Devastator was loyal to Starscream because he had Scoop in him, and Scoop was super into the whole Chosen One thing.
Yeah.
So if this is set off...
Question.
If this is set after Till All Are One, and I guess there is the chance it might not be. I don't know, because Starscream has been on some of these Falling covers, hasn't he? But I mean, you can easily imagine that, like, he could end up let out of prison to help in the fight or something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Honestly, the timeline of things is a little weird because we have Visionary still hasn't come out, and that's supposed to be set concurrently, or at least the beginning of it is concurrently with with the current two-parter that in Optimus Prime. But we still have.
I'm not sure it's quite concurrent because, I think. Because the first part of this Optimus Prime story mentioned, Cub was going to go down, but I don't think he had yet because he was there at the funeral and stuff.
Okay.
Oh, and actually, also because we've seen the first full 3 pages of Visionaries currently now, and they talk about it having been a few weeks since New Prismos was created. So yeah, I think versus Visionaries starts a little further away from First Strike than this Optimus story. But yeah, the annual is kind of impossible to tell at this point.
Yeah, we've got some weird timeline stuff going on. We'll see how it is. But yes, so Optimus Prime number 17. Then we also have Lost Light number 16, which the little solicit text says, Rodimus and the Crusader Khans have reached their final destination. The trouble is, it's not Cyber Utopia. In fact, it's not anywhere. But they'd better get used to it, because they're going to be there until the end of time.
Actually, yes, and according to James Roberts on Twitter recently, this begins the Everlasting Voices trilogy, which will run across 16 to 18.
Another trilogy.
I mean, I'm not going to complain, because this comic has generally been at its weakest when it's been doing big, multi-part, kind of quote-unquote epic stories. They never feel fully satisfying, so I am A-okay with shorter stories. It's comic's best track record is with shorter stories. So
just so long as they stick the landing, of course.
Well, yes. I'm going to have something to say about that in a minute. But several minutes.
But yeah, on the whole, it's decent cover. It kind of just shows them all kind of lined up they're dead.
Well, the thing with this cover that's interesting, and I was talking with some people on Twitter about the other day, is who is that foot just sticking into the left side of panel? Because it looks an awful lot like Skid's foot.
I could see that.
Blue kind of main bit, and then a red foot with black toes. That's what Skid's more recently eye design looks like.
Yeah,
there was some humming going on.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who is our who do we see on our cast? And of course we got Rod, Drift, Roller, Swerve, Nautica,
Ratchet, Cyclonus, and Ultramax. So yeah, it's all people who are on Skip currently. But then on Mysterious Foot is the best match for Skids, as far as I can tell. And I mean, I don't know, 8 and 9's thing with Skids was so brutally unsatisfying that, it wouldn't surprise me at all if the story with Skids wasn't done, because just what was that story in 8 and 9?
I don't think Skids' story is done. There is definitely something in regards to that brain module that they left behind. Something's going to come into play with that.
Well, yeah, but his whole thing, from the Series 1 finale. Yeah, that's for somewhere.
Yeah. And then we have Transformers vs. Visionaries number 4, which will see Leoric and Ironhide teaming up to save Cybertron from destruction. Yet again, Cybertron is about to get destroyed. I swear, this is just like Wednesday for them by this point, isn't it?
Yeah, interestingly, from the look of the Fika Wasso cover, it's possibly sort of destroyed in the sort of cyber-forming sense, because we've got sort of Cybertron being covered by green, trees and stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting. I guess the whole thing is going to be that the bad guys are going to try and turn all of Cybertron into New Prismos rather than a small cave, which I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean that was Merklin's original plan was to turn the entire planet rather than, but he didn't have time, and so it was you know, sell for what he could take.
Mm.
But yeah, so yeah,
It was very nice Spico cover with sort of the planet being reformatted, some visionaries up in the top, and then a sort of a kind of orbital debris ring around Cybertron that is made up of dead people, or half dead people, because we've got Tankor, Breakdown, and Sparkstalkers alarmed, body, like half dismantled bodies floating.
Yeah. I gotta say, I love, like, this series has not had any bad covers. I have loved all the...
Oh, yeah, they're all lovely.
All the different covers, and, like, the way they all have a kind of symmetry to them. You know, they're all kind of a consistent, like, thing. I really dig. I especially love Brendan Cahill's covers, especially this one with Galadriel and Wheeljack. Like... I like it. It's good. It's a good pairing.
Yeah, kind of. I feel like kind of all the covers on this series have had a kind of sort of like poster kind of thing going on. They're all sort of explicitly like pieces of art rather than just here is a scene from this. Well, there's been a few like that, but they lean more towards sort of slightly abstract kind of poster art rather than just being like a thing happening, that's always neat when you get that on covers.
Yeah. So I like it. I have high hopes for this series. You know, we've seen the previews, and I'll admit there were things I didn't love about the preview, which we'll talk about next week when we get the actual book. But I have been looking forward to the series, even in the wake of, you know, the crappy end of First Strike. So
yeah. So next we have Rom and the Micronauts, number 4 of 5. With E.J. Sue on cover art. Well, that's a nice treat to have. A very nice cover art it is too.
It's great. I love it. Yeah. But yeah, so this, of course, will is the penultimate chapter of the Rom and the Micronauts crossover, with Rom and, you know, getting out of microspace, and, you know, him and the Micronauts going to go beat up Baron Karza.
Yeah.
You know, which was always fun to see. Yeah. So, next up we have... Now, this was interesting. We get another solicit of Rom. Rom, Tales of the Soulstar Order number 1, which is actually collecting the Battle Scars backup story that ran in the in the back of the books during the last arc, which we, of course, saw... You know, we talked about it in each installment, you know, Rom and Phyla, and of course inked by Sal Buscema, the legend himself. But yeah, I do like how they're kind of, you know, releasing this as like its own thing. It's one of those things I will probably buy it, even though I already have the story, because I'm an obsessive Rom fan like that.
Yeah, it's a big kind of it's a $5 one shot. It's $5 thick enough to get perfect binding.
I don't know. I mean, the Till All Are One annual was $7.99. So
I was to say that's a kind of full double length, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to know. It might be a little thicker, but
yeah, I didn't actually ever mention it on the show, but I did kind of wonder if they were going to do this specifically because this cover art for this one shot is reused. It's one of the alternate covers for Rom 14, I think. And I remember thinking when I saw that cover, this art kind of looks like it has been drawn as cover art specifically for Battle Stars. It's got Rom and Phyla, and it's drawn by, like Dorian and Buscema. And turned out I was right.
Boom.
It's got some bonus material, apparently. Bonus art and an interview with Sal Buscema. Oh, and other cool extras.
Yeah, so, I mean, definitely gonna get that just for the extras alone, so... Who knows, I might briefly go... I mean, I'm sure Callum, I don't know if you will be, you know, wanting to spend an extra $5 on something you've already read, but I'll at least be picking this up, and I can report on any interesting stuff, you know, inside. So
it's the kind of thing that's sort of nice as a kind of... It's the kind of thing that you sort of you're going to kind of market to like people who maybe haven't been picking up the ongoing series. Here's a little kind of taste of IDW ROM with some star power behind it to get you through the door.
Oh yeah, definitely. And this is kind of what I was expecting to happen, like with the Tales of the Soulstar Order, was that it would be sort of a, like, I wouldn't mind if we saw another like a second, like another issue of Tales of the Soulstar Order as kind of a, as its own separate thing. I mean, I would love that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's likely. Let me be clear. I don't think it's likely that we'll get like Tales of the Soulstar Order as an ongoing second series for ROM. But I would love it if it was.
Yeah, kind of ROM spotlight series, effectively. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe like released once in a blue moon as like a special kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar to like Spotlights or something. I think it would be cool, but like I said, not expecting that to happen. And then we have the and then we have the
things. It's So then the last things are a pair of as I said, one of them isn't a trade paperback. We've got the trade paperback, the Redemption of the Dinobots trade paperback, which collects punishment, redemption, and salvation. So I think we predicted this was coming, didn't we? It was kind of a foregone conclusion that once they'd done the third one, they were going to put out a big trade of all of them. And it's the Dinobot Trilogy, as it has been previously known, in a book with a new cover, kind of drawing together elements from all of them, which is nice. It's got kind of Sandstorm down there, bottom, Slug, Windblade, Starscream, Optimus, Strafe, who I want to see more from Strafe. It's nice that she's there now, but I don't know. I couldn't tell you what Strafe's personality is, for instance.
Her personality is two-headed female dinosaur.
Yeah, I mean, angry at bludgeon, I guess, but that's not really a personality. Oh, and then Trypticon in the background. I almost missed him. Sort of lurking in the shadows.
Good old Trypticon. Daddy Dino.
And then we also have the second volume of Gem and the Holograms Covers Treasury, which I believe, it's oversized, I think, reprint of Gem cover art, which, it's a neat thing.
I mean, I'm a sucker for a good treasury of covers, so...
Yeah. I'm surprised they've never done these for any of the Transformers series, because, I feel
there was a treasury edition for More Than Meets the Eye.
Oh, well, sort of a treasury edition, of, the actual comics, though, right?
Yeah, of, the first 3 issues, I want to say.
Oh, yeah, no, it was the first trade, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But these kind of specifically kind of cover gallery treasuries. I know IDW have done them for the My Little Pony series. I remember seeing one of those, I think, in my old comic shop in Bath. But they're doing them for Gem. But I'm surprised they've never done that for Transformers. I don't know.
Yeah, that would actually be really cool. I would love to see that, actually.
I'm surprised they don't think I can only assume they don't think there's a market for it, which seems weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you'd kind of think that Transformers would have more of a market than Gem and the Holograms, but
I don't know. I mean, I guess
that could be just us talking, as
I guess
fans.
I perhaps don't entirely blame them for assuming that a bunch of Transformers fans aren't necessarily going to be the best people to just appreciate art in its own right.
True.
Look at how a lot of people still react to Scioli Transformers versus G.I. Joe.
Those people are dumb. Anyways,
this because this cover attached to it is that is being used for the cover art for the treasury is from Dark Gem, which is a really fun arc, if only just because all the holograms get ridiculous gothy emo outfits whilst they're being influenced by Silica, the evil version of Synergy. I forgot Synergy's name there for a second. That was weird.
Come on, Callum, it's showtime. Synergy. So,
actually, yeah, because... okay, right, yeah, so this says it is covers from the Dark Gem arc and beyond. So actually, I guess that means the first volume must have covered, like, the first 9 or so issues. I don't remember the specific numbers, but yeah. I don't think this can be the rest of the series, though.
No.
Yeah. Right, yeah. Let's move on, because, yeah, we have 6 comics. So.
Yeah. So, let's get started with Optimus Prime number 14. I'll be honest, I don't really feel like I have too many thoughts on this comic, partially because of, like, just... I don't know. I feel like it definitely reads better paired with the previous art, with the previous issue, as kind of a, like, one longer thing. Because really it is just kind of set up and, in a lot of ways it's kind of maneuvering pieces into place for the falling, and kind of just bringing... And this arc, this 2-part story has definitely been about kind of bringing together all the disparate parts. Well, pretty much everything that John Barber has written recently in terms of, like, the Salvation, Revolutionaries, and kind of Optimus Prime, and bringing it all kind of together and setting the stage really for the falling. Callum, what did you think of this issue?
Yeah, I know what you mean, sort of. Issue 13 sort of just impressed in its kind of just its ridiculous scope, in that, it was essentially, yes, like your guide to everything John Barber's ever written. And then this one is kind of everything's in place, and it sort of plays out the sort of kind of piece shuffling that it needs to. It's by no means a bad issue though. Like it is nice to have confirmation that Star Drive did get infected by a Dire Wraith.
We were wrong.
She now has Dire Wraith powers, but it's still herself.
It sucks because I was editing the episode as this issue came out, and I was like listening to us say, "Yeah, we don't think she's infected with the Dire Wraith. It's just random stuff. We're certainly not going to see this play out in Optimus Prime." Well, we were wrong. So and I did kind of love that moment where she just goes from very, very straight laced, and then her eyes kind of sink in with darkness, and then he kind of is doing that fire in my laser kind of thing with her chest. I actually really dug Wraith. Wraith Star Drive. So
it's a fun thing to do with a character whose kind of journey has been about sort of finding her own path, but also about just being angry with everyone else for starting wars constantly. That transformation. The kind of first panel starts. Killing is always the easy option, isn't it? Why can't you ever learn? In the kind of Wraith voice, it's just and then the lasers going off everywhere. It's all Star Wraith.
Yeah, I really would love to see either how Star Drive met up with Prowl, or whether this was recently during Prowl's whole in between Sins of the Wreckers and all that, or and honestly, I feel like this opens up the gate to a Shining Armor sequel, and I would totally love to read a Shining Armor sequel. But
I mean, like I was saying, I'm sure I said this before, but ain't no reason to give it call it Rom versus Transformers Shining Armor, unless you have some kind of inkling you'd like to do Rom versus Transformers something else later on.
Oh yeah, definitely. So it was definitely cool seeing seeing that and seeing Star Drive. But a lot of this issue was kind of was mostly maneuvering pieces in place. I did really like, though, I like Trypticon referring to the protoforms as his children.
Oh, it's great. I love it.
This is my dad. He's a giant, even more giant dinosaur. Dinosaur City. I love that. I am curious why he agreed to be Earth's embassy on Cybertron, but it is what it is.
I mean, it kind of follows. I'd say, like, because the whole thing in oh god, which order? Salvation. That was the third one, right?
Yeah.
Salvation. Okay, his whole thing in Salvation was sort of drawing on his sort of G1 profile thing of like him actually being sick of war and not liking having to fight people. So I can see, like, he would be willing to go along with sort of Optimus's thing that is essentially geared around sort of just ensuring peace. So I can kind of see why the big guy would go along with that. But also, just the other highlight of this issue is Baby G2 Sideswipe. That's such a clever. It's so clever. I love it. Having like the protoform who has G2 Sideswipe's colours, and RC names him Sideswipe, and it's kind of adorable, and I like it. And like I assume we're going to see this guy kind of grow up and become sort of a new Sideswipe, which is it's a cute way of kind of honouring his memory and doing doing G2 Sideswipe in a way that hasn't been done well. Actually, no, I say that the Fun Pub comics did do the sort of G2 namesakes as sort of clones, didn't it? But
but I think this is definitely like, that's saying this is not Sideswipe. Sideswipe is like it's a great way to have a character who can grow into a Sideswipe-esque role and be called Sideswipe, but not actually be Sideswipe returned from the dead. I think that's one of the big things is this is John Barber like having his cake and eating it too, because it like Sideswipe is put to rest, and that because that's thing if anyone had ever brought Sideswipe back, that great issue 9 of Optimus Prime would have just been, it would have had all the oomph taken out of it, if you get what I mean. So this is kind of bringing in a new version of Sideswipe basically, and and having a new character who can be that kind of young, impetuous kind of attitude for Sideswipe, I think is a really smart decision. And this can basically be Sideswipe now for anyone who wants to use Sideswipe. Yes, it's not the original Sideswipe, but it's still it's a good compromise, I think.
It's really clever. I like it. It's essentially doing kind of like legacy kind of superhero titles with Transformers, which it's really clever, I think. I like this as a sort of an approach to have a Sideswipe, but without just pulling Resurrection that like you say would cheapen an incredibly good issue.
And I do like the implication of like since they even use the term new generation, and some of my first Transformer toys were G2 stuff that my brother had, so it's like I am totally like, so I love G2, always have, always will, so it's like I would love to see some other G2 homages in the protoforms, because I know we got
absolutely
because I know we got like Race Master in Windblade. It was Windblade.
Oh yeah.
We got Race Master, but that's not really Rapido. I'd much prefer like a different character who's like actually Rapido.
That's a few degrees removed from Rapido.
Yeah, I'd love to see like Rapido or some of the other G2 characters. G2 Ramjet. Oh my gosh.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, actually, because Ramjet is dead.
Ramjet's dead.
We can do this with Ramjet too.
Oh yeah. So
I also just want to comment on just Bludgeon continuing just to be just a ridiculous ham in this issue, and just his master. I think his master is probably Onyx. I feel confident it's Onyx because like he according to Bludgeon,
does Bludgeon have at this point?
He will shack up with like anyone who's into anything sort of vaguely sort of like occulty. Just Bludgeon, he is on that. Yes, sign me up. But yeah, apparently his master will be disappointed that he didn't manage to prepare the world for what is to come. So, if we are continuing along our Onyx is a doomsday prepper for Unicron line of thought, I would say that confirms Bludgeon's, latest master as being Onyx.
Yeah. But yeah, so, I mean, solid issue, not a...
Yeah.
Not really a ton of, like, deep meat on the bones, I hate to say it, but it wasn't bad. It was just kind of there to maneuver things and set things up for the falling. I am very much interested in seeing what happens when all these characters converge, because, we have Prowl and working with Pyromagna, and I did love that final shot on that page. It was a great kind of thing of, especially because they do have a similar, like, kind of head crest thing.
Yeah, they've got
Yeah, so I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, and it lends itself nicely then to those two working together. You could, I'm sure people probably did predict that, those two would end up sort of, shacking up together because, they both think that Optimus is doing a bad job.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and of course we still have Ghost Bumblebee chilling around. And I'm just waiting to see what happens with Bumble, with the Bumble 3,
And Centurion. Something's got to happen. That can't be a coincidence. I refuse to believe it's a coincidence.
Yeah, I mean, there's no... I mean, the fact is, of all the things John Barber could do in this, set up to the falling, he brought back out of stasis his own creation of Centurion, and he brought back from, years ago, had not been seen from continuity limbo. He brought back Goldbug in the same issue where Bumblebee is running around doing ghost stuff. It's like, this is not coincidence.
It can't be.
This is carefully planned storytelling. Something is happening with the Bumble 3 when we see them all converge. I don't know what, but it is. So, yeah. So, that's Optimus Prime 14. Let's talk about Rom and the Micronauts.
Yeah.
Now, I had my trepidations with this series going in because, I love Rom and I didn't want the Micronauts to kind of come in and just derail everything that's been happening with his book. But this was actually, really solid. I really liked this issue. Cal?
Yeah, no, it was very fun, wasn't it? It sort of... I don't know, I'm not sure I could quite say how, but it managed to juggle kind of a really quite large cast in a very kind of deft way, and it was kind of fun and kind of rollicking, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. I guess it kind of helps that kind of, the Micronauts cast is reduced with Oz leaving, and Orpheon and Livia are kept to secondary role.
Yeah, and it was one of those things. I wasn't expecting them to be in this book at all.
I
was expecting them to just conveniently ignore them, especially given all the stuff that we saw. That's thing, they weren't mentioned in any of the solicits. They weren't shown in any of the previews. But it proved to the cast was kept very manageable. I feel like most everyone kind of got something to do. Even Darby and Camilla, who are finally back with Rom and doing stuff again. And heck, we even have our 3 villains. When we didn't necessarily need to have all 3 of these villains here, we did, and it worked, incredibly well.
kind of full marks for cast juggling just right off the bat on this book. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I really did I don't know what it is, but I feel like this is just in the villains' interactions, I feel like we're finally starting to get some actual personality for Dirge. Because I hate to say it, Dirge was just kind of he's just kind of cackling, and he was cackling. He was evil.
Yeah.
The fact that we now have these 3 villains who are interacting gives them a bit, we have this connection with with Absence and Dirge, and they kind of have their own back and forth. Karza, like, I feel like these villains are now starting to get fleshed out as individuals with more personality, and I really dug that. That was, like, great. And just Karza's, like, flat out, like, look, you have no reason to trust me. I have no reason to trust you. So let's work together, I actually liked that. I thought it was real cool.
Oh yeah, there are a few ways to kind of better kind of show personality in a bunch of villains than to put them make them work together and bicker about it constantly. All good villain team ups involve the villains bickering constantly, and I am glad that is borne out here.
Yeah. So let's see. Continue on. I will say this about... I'm not entirely sure that Gage really has the... And this was something I kind of worried about, that kind of bothered me in the First Strike two-parter. But I don't feel like he really has quite a good handle on the Micronauts' voice as characters.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like... the one that stood out to me is Larissa. The way she keeps referring to Karza as her father, when that was something she even once it was revealed, she always referred to him as Karza. I don't know, it doesn't, it's not terrible, but it just, something about it is noticeably different from the way Bunn and Johnston were writing the characters.
It's noticeable. Yeah, I did pick up on the exact same thing. But kind of, it doesn't ruin the experience, but it is kind of it's noticeable.
Yeah, I mean, it's in very minor ways. It's in ways like Biotron talking a bit too much like a robot, or like everyone referring to Finn as Space Glider when that was something they never referred to her as before. But again, it's super minor, and I must say I really did like I don't entirely understand why they shaved Larissa's head, except for maybe just to make her visually distinct from Darby. But
yeah, they did have the exact same hair.
Yeah,
I assume that's why it happened.
But yeah, it is It is cool to see her kind of taken over as lead of the Micronauts. I like that. I liked the character interactions between them and Rom. I mean, we had already seen that, but and them working with Rom's supporting cast. I would have liked a bit more kind of playing off of the supporting cast, but it was it is what it is. I'm sure we'll get that as the series goes on, especially with Rom now stuck in microspace. So
yeah. I am slightly disappointed we only got to see the aftermath of Rom, Darby and Camilla fighting wraith cows on a farm.
Yeah.
Why did we have to miss that? That sounds great.
It really did, yeah. That really would have been awesome to see. Well, that's saying, we see them fighting, all kinds of different... that's saying, we see that shot of Livia and Orpheon fighting some lava wraith.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool. Yeah. Oh, and I think that's just, this is a good time as any to bring up the art. Paolo, you knock it out of the park, my man. It's so good. I love Paolo's art. And the coloring by Alessandra Alexakis just works so well with his style. I mean, I don't know what it is, but it works incredibly well. It's vibrant. It's it's solid. I especially love that splash page when Karza is absorbing Rom's energy and Rom is shrinking.
Oh, yeah.
God, it was such a good splash. Oh my gosh. Just I want this as a poster, honestly. If I could just blow it up and put it on my wall, I would. It's so good. So
actually he has actually signed it in the corner of that page, I noticed. Yeah. Babs fully intending to
Well, there's a couple that he's well he did that yeah.
The other big splash.
Yeah,
that's
thing there too.
That's also a gorgeous splash. Yeah.
Yeah, I the first one I was referring to was the one where he's like, "For I am Rom, the Space Knight, and I will not die easily." But yeah, the second one is also really good when he's like visibly in the little bubble.
Yeah.
So I mean, both of those are great. And this now gives us something that I actually have been wanting for a while: Baron Karza at like human size. Because that's the thing. Because he's been tiny, he's been bigger than a transformer, and now he's like human size. It's like I think that's actually an interesting, kind of like size to put him at. It's like I do honestly though at one point just want to see him take down some guy at his normal height, because just like at his 8-inch tall kind of height, I just want to see him just like murder somebody, just because I think that would be hilarious for like some chucklehead is like being all like, oh, he's small, what is he gonna do? And then like he just interchanges into a horse and fires his rockets hands at him and just I think that would be fun. But yeah.
Actually, talking of Karza, one kind of like point I slightly raised an eyebrow in this was that when Karza starts interchanging with Rom, everyone's like, oh gosh, how's he doing that? You can't sort of involuntarily sort of interchange with a person, but like Baron Karza did that in Revolution with the dire raids, as seen in the first page of this issue in a flashback. I wasn't quite sure what kind of was being gotten at with that dialogue.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Well, I don't think it's necessarily that he can't do it to something that's unwilling. I will say this: it's like it's like a Croyer says, interchanging is a symbiosis. He should not be able to steal Rom's size and strength. It's like it's one of those things like interchange can do all sorts of stuff. Interchange can cause you to get a centaur body. It can cause you to. I mean, who is it? Shezreela, used her interchange to make poison for the Red Phoenix. It's like interchange is just a magic thing that means superpowers and micro.
Oh, actually,
I hate to say it.
I think now reading the dialogue again, I think the intent is that kind of Akora is saying interchanging is like symbiosis. Yeah, he shouldn't be. If he's interchanging with Rom, he should be fusing with him rather than just stealing his size. Yeah, transferring it. I think I could have misread that kind of. Yeah, it's specifically that he's able to just sort of funnel it away from Rom into himself rather than literally kind of smushing himself together with Rom. Perhaps,
but still, it's interchanging. Well, and I guess even with Shezreela, she mixed her she mixed her blood with the poison. Am I thinking about that right?
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And talking about sort of character abilities, I noticed that Livia gets her arm shot off and can then apparently just sort of reattach it, kind of no big thing, on the next page. Which is, I feel like that's not something we've seen the Knights doing before, is it?
I'm trying to find the page.
Yeah, sort of lost. Basically, the last page of the fight.
I see it now.
Gets blown off, and then she's sort of reattaching it with the sort of metal tendrils kind of reaching out.
Unless she's lost that arm some point in the past, and that arm is fully
it's highly metal. Mm. Actually, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, that is
could be
very
could be a hint towards backstory instead of just.
Mm.
But I get what you're saying. Yeah,
the comic has been slightly vague in the past in terms of how kind of the knight or armor actually kind of works with respect to their biology, because it's been suggested they should all be dead by now. It's been suggested it kind of it's prolonged their lives, hasn't it? And that and they don't need to breathe. because of it. So,
Although there is also stuff like Diavad and in First Strike.
Oh yeah, like he's still around in First Strike.
Yeah,
but it could just be an art error. Maybe he's a knight by now.
But as we saw, and I still think this is stupid, the knights can apparently take their masks off, which I still think is dumb, because it kind of ruins a lot of the mystique and
that was so weird, wasn't it?
But but overall, weird. I thought Micronauts, like Rom vs. Micronauts, solid start to a series.
It
actually was surprisingly better than I expected. I admit my expectations for this were a little low, but it handled everything well. It was a nice, solid story about the heroes teaming up to take on the villains, and of course, we're just getting started. I cannot wait to see Rom in microspace. I mean, he's like with all those reptos. So I am definitely looking forward to the second issue. This very much impressed me.
Yeah, no, this this first issue has had me kind of looking forward to the series, a lot more than it was otherwise. So bring it on.
Yeah. Bring it on too. Anyways, next up we have Transformers Till All Are One Annual. It's finally here. The end of the series that honestly is probably the most solid of the Transformers series, I think. I don't like of the past year.
Oh, kind of considering Till All Are One as sort of it's I was gonna say 12-ish, but no, I guess 14 issues if you include this and the Revolution one-shot. But just as kind of a run under that title, Till All Are One has been sort of, pretty kind of flawless. Sort of, it's not slipped up, really, under this name,
At worst, it kind of got, a bit slowed down with the Titans Return arc, but honestly, even that was fine, It really was, it really did get in the last 4 issues was when it really, boom, got real good, and then it was but anyways. So this annual, of course, brings Till All Are One to a close, and it's a really good issue. Callum, what did you think?
Yeah, no, it's kind of... I don't think you could have written, a better ending in the 40 pages that you had. It's, big old thumbs up. God, it succeeds I honestly succeeds far better than I almost expected being a conclusion to the series to take other than the sort of Liege Maximo stuff, which appears to have been handed over to Optimus Prime. I assume that would have been until All Are One had it continued, but that's definitely been passed over now. It wraps everything up very nicely and is it's very satisfying. You're not left with oh gosh. I mean, obviously, it is still disappointing that the series has ended, but from a given this is what we had, there is nothing that's left dangling, particularly or unsatisfied. It leaves you unsatisfied. We get resolution to all the plot and character developments that have been going on. It's a really good issue, and great art, of course. I mean, that goes without saying on Sara's stuff, but great art. And, it is. It's a great conclusion.
It really was. It it very much wrapped everything up everything that it needed to, and a lot any of the lingering stuff DC 3 whatever the numbers are.
Yes.
I mean that stuff this thing, it wrapped up all the little plot details that needed to just kind of have a bow tied on them. But this thing, it really is. It does what Till All One was best at, which is really character-driven, political intrigue, and it did it really well with, Starscream I really did like his whole, confessing to everything and getting like locked up and actually getting punished for his crimes. Windblade and her, her sort of defiance of. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like her moment where she just where she talks back to the Mistress of Flame, and Mistress of Flame just smacks her. It's like, it's very much one of those not not to the Mistress of Flame, but to Windblade. You go, girl. Yeah, yeah. It's it really is great.
I'll say this something that was just about essentially going to be about wrapping up plot points. It managed to surprise me repeatedly. This issue,
oh, yeah.
Windblade getting exiled, and then Starscream confessing to everything. Yeah, got me properly surprised. Wow.
Oh yeah. See, I would not be surprised if some of this stuff started out as Till All Are 113, or at least ideas for Till All Are 113, and then got metamorphosed, and they instead morphed into this stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's not only a satisfying conclusion to Till All Are One, it's a good story in and of itself, and I think that's one of the most important things for something for an annual like this. I think is the fact that it tells a good story on its own, as well as serves as a good conclusion to the series. So yeah. And that's the thing, and there's a lot of just really solid moments. For instance, one of the moments I absolutely loved, especially because, and this might just be the way that I read it, but was Circuit when he's on the news and he's ex-delegate Windblade couldn't say when the Prime would return to destroy us all or how he planned to do it. However, this reporter feels confident that death is imminent.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a lot of great solid moments like that. Brawl being embarrassed that he's drinking a martini or whatever you have on Cybertron. That's the equivalent. It's
I think we have to bring up the artist's rendition gag, where it's just G2 Leash Maxima.
Oh my god, that was great. That was brilliant.
That as a gag, it works on multiple levels, both in terms of being a callback and
what does Leech Maximo look like? Well, he's super scary for one thing. He's got these horns. I just want to see the scene where someone was describing Leech Maximo to get from his aligned design to G2 design. It's what did they say, honestly?
I'm going to have to look up open up that issue now and check who was there to see him, just so I can imagine who was possibly talking to the artist.
Yeah, that was great. I could honestly go through this book and just describe great moments, but honestly, it's one of those things, you really, I think our listeners deserve, really, they need to go and pick this book up for themselves. It really...
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't, what are you doing? Go.
Yeah. It's such a solid story, as well as conclusion. And now Windblade is the formerly Supreme Ruler. Now the title is First Delegate of Cybertron. So, yes, it will be... it will be interesting to see where, how the stuff that this book ties up gets explored over in Optimus Prime. So, and to an extent, Transformers vs. Visionaries, but
yeah. One thing I will say about this issue that it essentially follows on from my opinions on issue 12 is that I wasn't really that keen on Starscream's Starscream's character motivation in this issue, focusing so heavily on the true forged self thing from issue 12, which I wasn't keen on that in issue 12 just because it felt weird, almost treating things like that. I feel like I probably talked about it on the show before, but stuff if if kind of the kind of your kind of forged body is kind of your sort of God-given true self that is sort of a perfect reflection of who you're supposed to be, what does that say about like forged trans Cybertronians like RC? That doesn't really track. It's kind of I thought it was kind of weird in issue 12, and it being it like wasn't a huge part of this issue other than being kind of Starscream's kind of underlying motivation for things, but like it was the one thing that I would sort of like stick my nose up at in this issue, but kind of it was something I was already sticking my nose up at in issue 12, so like it's not really a fault with this issue.
I mean, I feel like we talked about this when we talked about issue 12.
Yeah.
But, you know, the forged cold construction, you know, the way that started out as a racism metaphor, I mean, heck, they even used the word apartheid. You know, like, it has always, and I think it's always been an iffy kind of thing in terms of Transformers because of that fact, and the fact that it's difficult to do really like a racism metaphor with Transformers when they can augment their bodies however they want, and yeah, like you were saying with you know, characters like RC, who, you know, it's like her true self is, you know, the way she is now is in her opinion, but yeah, like she was forged as a, you know, in a male body. It really is a, you know, it's one of those things that I hate to say is just kind of partly a victim of the idea wasn't a great idea in the first place, and partly, you know, just doesn't fit with the universe and
I mean, like
way Transformers are. I totally get the criticism, like, and I get the. It's one of those things. I find myself being like, it's hard to pick a side, if you will. But yeah, I get the opinions on both sides.
It's kind of, I don't know, yeah, kind of in a vacuum. It's sort of like nothing about it kind of doesn't work in a vacuum. Like the kind of the Cabbage Patch robots being racist against the robots built in factories is like, yeah, that follows, that tracks. But sort of, I think it was like weird that, well, kind of, it was unfortunate that Roberts sort of coded it so heavily as being a race thing to begin with, and it's being kind of, I know, yeah, it kind of sometimes feels like, yeah, people aren't quite sure what to do with it as a concept, and yeah, like I'm ultimately not super keen on what got done with it until all one. But kind of the kind of great thing about this issue is the kind of you can almost still just, well, not sort of like, so yeah, I guess in part being sort of just like willfully ignoring it, but kind of Starscream's character journey kind of still kind of works even in absence of all that. Sort of, it is about kind of a guy who has been stuck in a cycle of kind of, yeah, making shitty decisions, finally sort of breaking himself out of it, and sort of it's still a satisfying character journey, even if kind of, yeah, maybe some of the sort of nitty gritty of his motivations is kind of like questionable. But yeah, kind of it's still kind of a really satisfying kind of, it's a satisfying conclusion to the kind of character journey Starscream's gone on. And yeah, Starscream confessing, yeah, it wasn't the kind of the conclusion to his journey that I was expecting. Kind of, I don't know what I was expecting. I'm not sure.
Expecting either.
But yeah, no, I certainly wasn't expecting him to, confess to everything publicly and be put in prison.
Yeah.
And yeah, you wonder if he's going to stay there, because yeah, he's supposed to be. It says he's given like a lifetime sentence, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
But like, he's not going to stay there, obviously, because like, no. Come on.
I mean, but, yeah. Narrative, he isn't going to stay there. I mean, you know, just because of this, for the sake of the overarching narrative, it's too important to stay there forever. It's kind of like Megatron. We know he's coming back from the Functionist universe eventually.
Yeah, and that Tailgate is getting out of that hole. Like,
yeah,
guys, he was never going to be in the hole forever. But yeah, I digress. But yeah, kind of, yeah, it sort of, And this is basically a conclusion to sort of like because Starscream became leader of Cybertron in RID 16, which would have been like mid 2013. So like a 4-year character journey Starscream has been on.
4 years.
Yeah, it's a satisfying conclusion to it.
Very much is. Yeah. So, Teller 1 Annual was really solid.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Like, yeah, I hope we still see kind of like Mairghread and Sara doing other stuff at IDW, like, because like, I forget if we said it on the show, but kind of like Mairghread on a GI Joe book for IDW would be great.
Gosh, yes,
Like,
I want it, especially after First Strike, because she wrote Scarlett and the Joes so well in that. I want Mairghread on a GI Joe book. Like,
but that would be a great thing. And like, obviously, please, guys, find something to put Sara on. She's a fantastic Transformers artist.
I would love for her to do, like, even if it's just an arc, I would love for her to come in and guest on Optimus Prime. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Kay's. I love Kay's work, but I would also love to see Sara do something with the Colonists or something, because she already did that. Did part of the Primeless story arc, and I actually really like the way Bertram colored her art on that. So, but assuming I'm remembering the right pages, of course.
She had the first chunk of the first issue.
So she. I love that. I would love to see Sara on an Optimus Prime. Arc. Or heck, even Lost Light. You know, if you want to that's just assuming we just want to keep her with the robots. You know, I mean, I think she could do honestly anything. But yeah. So, shall we move on?
Yeah, no, I think,
All right.
All on Annual. That's pretty good.
It's real good. Read it. So, yes, so next up we have Gem Dimensions number 2. So, we had the first issue in our last episode, and, we get another issue this time. So this had 2 stories, Face Off and Stargirl. Face Off, which features the Holograms and the Misfits going head-to-head in the greatest, most deadly sport of all, karaoke.
Like, disappointingly, it's not actually about Gem and Pizzazz swapping faces, a la the classic Nick Cage John Travolta film. But it's karaoke instead, which will do, I guess.
See, now I'm just disappointed. You've just disappointed me, Callum. This issue sucks because it doesn't have them swappy faces. Okay, all right.
And Stargirl, which isn't about the Justice Society of America. Being let down.
Also
by the
disappointing,
titles, guys.
Man, you are just disappointing me every turn. But yeah. This was which was a Shayna focused story, and we'll get to that because I have some thoughts on it. But first off, Face Off, just a fun story. I liked it.
Yeah,
I liked it. So just
nice. Nice, enjoyable hijinks.
Yeah, hijinks. Everybody doing karaoke and singing, like the Misfits singing a Hologram song, Holograms singing a Misfits song. That kind of, and either butchering the song or making it better, depending on who you ask. Great. It was a solid story. And I loved the art on this by.
Oh yes, it's lovely.
Siobhan Keenan, I believe. So. It very much is in keeping. It very much is in the style of like Sophie Campbell, which I really dug.
Yeah, it reminds me most, I think, of Jen Bartel's stuff, who's done a bunch of covers, and I think 3 or so issues of the original ongoing. It's a very nicely kind of fitting style for IDW Gem. It's sort of It's sort of slightly cute, kind of everyone emotes, kind of very strong. Like, kind of, I feel like a good measure of kind of an IDW gem artist is whether like I want to start screen capping faces to use as reaction images, and this story passes that test definitely.
Excellent. Yeah, so I mean that's the thing, and it's just, you know, it's like lots of wacky hijinks, like Roxy. That's the one with the white hair, right?
Yes.
Like getting you know, like getting drawn in by bagels and all that. You know, it's real solid. I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I think kind of hijinks is the kind of the optimal format for this kind of anthology book. I could say I will always enjoy hijinks stories.
Oh yeah, and you know, between last issue or let's see, after like Catnap and you know, like, and this issue, I think Clash is starting to become my new favorite character. Because she's just like, she's so fun. She just wants everyone to get along, you know, and you know, talk about the power of karaoke. I like it. I like Clash. She seems fun. I really do need to go back and read the past Gem stuff, but who knows? Hopefully by the time issue 3 comes out, I'll be like, I've actually read past Gem and know things. Yeah. So it was a solid story. Callum, any other thoughts on Face Off?
No, yeah, I kind of, I liked it, yeah.
It's fun, it's hijinks, you know, solid. Alright, next up, we have Stargirl, which was a Shayna-focused, the Shayna-focused story, and I will say, like, I did not know that much about, like, about Gem and the Holograms just in general, before like reading Infinite and all that, so I did like that this kind of, for me at least, fleshed out the personality of one of the holograms and kind of showed that they're not all obsessed with music. You know, some have other desires and interests, and you know, Shayna's fashion. I kind of knew that she was into like fashion. Like I remember like hearing about that in the like original series and all that, but it's like, you know, actually seeing it was real cool. You know. And they actually did a lot to kind of flesh out the character for me, and it was, you know, it's just a nice little character focus on Shayna, you know, getting her, you know, doing her fashion design. You know, I like it. It's good.
Yeah, no, it's all the previous ones have been sort of like ensemble pieces essentially. So it's nice to get sort of one of these stories that is just kind of a full-on kind of character spotlight. I guess kind of, was it called Catnapped? Or am I imagining that as the title?
Catnap.
Oh, okay.
Like kidnap and like cat nap, but catnap.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess that had a kind of a tight, kind of a reasonably kind of small cast. But yeah, this is the first one that's an actual sort of full-on sort of, this is a spotlight story for this one character. So, and I forget if the solicits say there are going to be any more of those. I don't remember what we're expecting for the next ones. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, so it's one of those things I don't really know much about, like fashion or anything like that. Apparently this like ties into a previous issue of Gem Holograms.
The title page acknowledges that it's before she goes off to Italy on her fashion internship in 21. But actually, it must be set reasonably early on, if not before, I would say, the entire... Oh, wait, hang on, no, Gem is in it. So, yeah, it's got to be set reasonably early on, I think, because Jerica hasn't cut her hair short yet.
Yeah, and it also says, like Sarah Gatiss' letter says, it dives deeper into her big dilemma first introduced in issue 7, so... Evidently, it's somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, it's a solid story. Though I do have to say, I think I liked Face Off just a little bit more because it's more in the wacky hijinks thing that that's kind of more my speed. But both stories really were solid, and I liked it.
Yeah, agreed.
Alrighty.
Cool.
Next up, Scarlett Strike Force, Issue 1. Formerly Issue 1 of 8, now Issue 1 of 3. Shame on you, IDW, because this is
oh my god,
awesome.
It's really good. Like, god damn, it is good.
This was fast-paced, high-octane action. From the the first thing you see in the just when you open the book is just like a Lady J stabbing a giant ant with like
technically it's tiny Lady J stabbing a regular sized ant.
True, but that's not revealed until a little later. But yeah. So yeah, we open with the Joes, that's thing. The Joes open with them fighting the army ants, who apparently are creations of Cesspool. So and Cesspool is here, wearing a business suit and not his big cable armor from Revolutionaries number 7, which I was very disappointed. I wanted him to just be wearing the cable-esque armor. But yeah, so I mean,
he has got a biohazard symbol tie, which is cute.
That was awesome. That I was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, so I mean, it definitely just kind of opens with a bang. I like it. So yeah, we also get to see, of course, the new Vipers, and man, Baroness Cobra Commander is super ruthless.
Yeah.
I mean, it befits the character of the Baroness. It's just she's super scary, honestly. So,
yeah, I had been wondering what would become of the fact that there were Dire Wraith members of Cobra now, and yeah, there's my answer.
They get eaten by the mutant vipers things.
The Sneeple Vipers.
Yes. And Destro is around somehow. Yeah. So. Yeah. And surprisingly, I mean, he only gets a few pages, but a character who surprisingly was not horrible and talked like a human being. Matt Tracker.
Yeah, Matt Tracker being likable.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it was one of those things. We were I was hoping that Aubrey Sitterson would do something to make Matt Tracker interesting, and he's at least on a good start. He's at least likable now. I mean, he's he's trying to just be nice and build his inventions, and he decides to help Grand Slam out, and it's solid. Matt Tracker.
Matt Tracker being a cool dude instead of being sad dude.
My dad's dead, and I'm gonna murder you, Mayhem. That's my Matt Tracker impression.
I feel like he's probably not going to try and execute anyone in this book.
Yeah, so actually a hero. That's good start. But yeah, and of course, at the end, we see Cover Girl with her new mask tech empowered Dino Hunter. Of course, it's not called the Dino Hunter. We only know that because it's quite clearly based on the toy. But yeah, the Joes are going to fight dinosaurs next issue with the help of an intruder from the Adventure Team. Yay, Adventure Team!
And they're doing it in totally not the Savage Land, you guys.
Yeah, totally not the Savage Land. I mean, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing. This was just a solid, really fun issue. Nelson Daniels' art just kills it. I mean, it's one of those things. He's not coloring it himself, so it's not it's not exactly like Clue, but Ryan Hill and his colors are really are cartoony. They make everything pop. It has this like really like real zaniness to it that I really like. So.
Oh yeah, I've been kind of vaguely concerned about Nelson Daniel not colouring his own stuff, but I really love the aesthetic that we've ended up with. Just sort of kind of generally kind of high saturation, kind of nice sort of bold and sort of like mostly kind of two-tone. Very nice colouring. That's well suited to the lines. This book looks
I will say if
gorgeous.
there's any place that I have to be critical of Nelson Daniel's art, it is with Skywarp. Skywarp's a little chunky. He's a little boxy, and
I know what you mean. Yeah.
So, but I'm hoping. But I mean, Fico Ossio. I mean, he's another artist that, like, when he started out, the Transformers looked a little off, but as time went on, he really improved. Now, granted, we're only going to have 3 issues, but I'm hoping that happens for Nelson Daniel as well.
Yeah.
It's certainly not and that, of course, is much worse in the shot where he's with Rock and Roll, like, hunched over and all that, and less so when, like, he was, like, standing up and doing stuff in the opening sequence. So, but yeah. So.
I am so disappointed that this series has been cancelled because it's so good. This first issue.
Yeah.
Guys.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you want to help get this uncanceled, buy this comic. Buy it any way you can. I mean, I bought both the digital copy and the physical copy.
Yeah, I don't normally buy floppies, but I have ordered off of a web. Actually, I forget where I've ordered them now, but I have ordered print copies of this that should turn up at some point.
So it's one of those things. I really, I mean, I'm looking forward to next issue because dinosaurs. I'm always down for dinosaurs, and Crocmaster and Raptor and all that. So, but it really is a shame that this book is getting killed right when it's getting started, and it's a lot of fun. So, great issue. You really should be buying Scarlet Strike Force if you haven't already.
You really should. God.
Yeah.
Please buy it.
Yes. So, and I'm really, I don't know what's going to happen to Joe after this, honestly, but let's enjoy it while we got it. So. Alrighty. Anything else on Scarlet Strike Force?
No, yeah.
Alrighty. Let's talk Lost Light number 12. The final part of the Mutineers Trilogy. Callum, I know you have some thoughts on this. Why don't you share your thoughts first?
I've really been enjoying this story, and this 3-parter, and then it kind of blew it all in the conclusion, and maybe that was my fault for expecting a good conclusion to a More Than Meets the Eye story when they have historically not been the strongest parts. But it turns out, well, apparently, according to James Roberts on Twitter, apparently only 2 people die in this issue, which I guess must be Rook and, Mirage, I'd say. His head gets cut in half, so...
Well, there's Atomizer.
I don't know, his head is kind of intact, though, and, Getaway knows by that point he needs to have people... Getaway knows he needs people to feed to Sunder. I don't know. But, if one takes this issue at face value without reading the writer's comments on it on Twitter, we're just left with kind of just Getaway kills a bunch of people to up his villain cred, and sort of there's not really any change in the plot status quo. Like, I wasn't expecting the storyline to end with, like, Getaway being overthrown, because, like, obviously that's not going to happen whilst Optimus and Co.
You were right, though.
But
you were right about how it ended.
I was expecting something to change, other than... I mean, we were all expecting, I think, we found Cyber Utopia ending, ever since James Roberts accidentally accidentally gave away the issue title, which, yeah, it was a last page type issue title. Journey's End, they reach Cyber Utopia. But yeah, like, nothing really changes on the ship. Like, I was expecting maybe, like, I don't know, the kind of, like, I think what I'd been predicting was that sort of the crew would clue on and they would start kind of revolting against Getaway, and there'd be some kind of big fight maybe in, like, the cargo bay or something, and Defensor would be sort of beating up Getaway, and he's got him sort of pressed up against a wall. But then kind of the fighting stops as everyone spins around to look out kind of the cargo bay doors, because there's Cyber Utopia below them, and then kind of cut to black, and we don't find out what happens next until kind of we pick back up with them again. But yeah, instead this is basically like Getaway kills a bunch of people, and also he has like a sort of weird Legion of Doom now at his disposal.
Yeah, this honestly is, I think, this is Lost Light More Than Meets the Eye at its worst excesses, quite frankly. You know, where it kills a bunch of characters, you know, just for the sake of it. Characters that could have been, interesting in and of themselves. You know, I mean,
it's Rook that's the big crime. Like,
Rook.
the whole thing that made More Than Meets the Eye, like, one of the whole things that made More Than Meets the Eye so popular was that it took a bunch of nobody blank slate characters and turned them into sort of likeable characters that you cared about. Like, that was the thing you'd sort of say to someone to get them to read More Than Meets the Eye. Like, oh yeah, read this, and like it'll make you care about like Chrome Dome and Rewind, and like, whoa, like fancy that, eh? But no, here James Roberts takes the nobody blank slate character and kills them off. Just
for a stupid forced. Honestly, I think it was supposed to be a joke, but it's not. It's such a forced thing with Ambulon. Like, what?
I guess some people care about Ambulon and will have been happy to see him turn back up, but like,
turn back up to be used as a peg leg, you know? Yeah. I mean, in a way that doesn't entirely make sense given the way combiners have been written in this universe. But yeah, like,
Mirage was right there, guys. You did not need to use a dead person as a leg. There was a leg right there. And Mirage was actually a leg in Combiner Wars. Because, yeah, despite what this issue claims, Rook was not Defensor's leg. He was his arm. He was always his arm.
Yeah. Heck, he's his arm on the cover.
Yeah. Like, when Jack Lawrence drew the cover for this issue, yeah, Rook is his arm, because IDW Defensor was always drawn like his kind of Combiner Wars kind of like schematics and packaging art, where Rook was his arm. I think possibly actually he was like a mirror image of his kind of schematic arrangement for some reason.
Well, but and here's the thing: I will at least defend the use of not use of Mirage, because it's like, okay, we don't exactly know how, like, while we don't know exactly how Enigma of Combination combiners work, you know, it's one of those things. There's been nothing to indicate that they work like the Combiner Wars toys do. I mean, I understand why that, you know, I mean, yes, it would have been hella more satisfying narratively than friggin' Ambulon, but it's like, but yeah, it was such a waste to kill off a character that could have been interesting. And quite frankly, despite Roberts' comments, it really looks like all the other, like, you know, like all the other Protectobots were killed too.
One of them has the old kind of smoke belching out the mouth thing.
Yeah. Groove has his,
which is famously, incredibly famously, how Transformers graphically died in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, that thing, they're blown through their chest, it's like smoke coming out of the mouth. It looks like all the Protectobots died. Despite what Robert says, I mean, if that was the case, that's a fucking waste. It's a real just waste of potentially interesting characters. Characters who were who have been background fillers, with the exception of First Aid, for all of More Than Meets the Eye, and then they finally got something to do in Combiner Wars. I mean, it wasn't much, but it was something. It was better than being like a pallbearer, which I think was what Hotspot's previous biggest appearance was. So it was, it was a real waste.
Well, there is no kind of convincing narrative reason for any of those deaths back beyond just making Getaway look more evil, which at this point we know he's evil. He's really evil. And he has no morals. We've fully established before this issue all of that.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of waste, how about the, 5 pages that you dedicate to the friggin' scavengers? I'm sorry, people. I have never found the scavengers interesting.
It's 4 pages. Technically, it's 4 pages. Sorry.
It is 5 pages worth of art, okay?
Wait, what?
Wait, am I just miscounting? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it is 4. Sorry.
Okay,
my math was wrong in my head. Yeah, okay, so... But 4 pages dedicated to the friggin' scavengers who are already going to be featured in the next issue. Did you run out of plot, Roberts? Did you get to the end of this issue, to the end of your script, and realize, oh crap, I'm missing like 4 pages. Random interlude with characters who are I'm sorry, people. I don't like the scavengers. They've never been interesting to me. So, you put them in this issue, and it is you put them in any issue, and my enjoyment of it is immediately going to go down by at least 20%. And I already was not enjoying this comic.
The interlude is very weird. Like you're saying, I'm not entirely sure why it exists. Because it seems to exist to get the scavengers from where they were last time we saw them to presumably where they'll be next issue. It's like this is sort of essentially saving time at the start of next issue, but why is it a weird interlude in the middle of this issue? And why did Andrew Griffith clearly have no time at all to draw it, because the lines are super rough?
Yeah. And
it's weird. What's it doing there in the middle of the issue? It's just I personally don't object to the scavengers that much. They're fine. I can take the stories they've been in have been kind of but as characters, I don't have a problem with them particularly. But what is this weird interlude doing in the middle of this issue? And I don't know. Yeah, that's weird.
And of course, in terms of bringing in characters I don't like, of course, this issue has to just put the cherry on the top with frigging Star Saber. Yeah, I'm one of those people who actually liked Victory. Roberts.
See, I never minded IDW Star Saber. I've literally never seen... Actually, no, I tried watching 2 episodes of Headmasters once and gave up. I should try some of the other JG1 cartoons, I guess. But,
I like Victory, so I recommend that one.
Yeah, I was kind of generally fine with Star Saber. His fight with Cyclonus was cool, and when Cyclonus sort of denounces him and says has his big speech about no, you're not doing religion right, God is smiling on me because he's allowing me to kill you. Like, I enjoyed kind of I enjoyed Cyclonus's sort of like announcement of him, but that's about as far as I have an opinion on IDW Star Saber.
Yeah, I mean that was a cool moment. It's
actually, also that one panel where he's like, well, I guess it's probably two panels, but where going to be Star Sabers. Oh, will anyone test their faith against mine? And then there's just Cyclonus with his great sword drawn. It's like, yes, yeah, I will. But yeah, I don't really have he was essentially just an accessory for Cyclonus's story before. But yeah, here he gets to murder a bunch of people. Oh, sorry, actually not murder anyone. They're all fine, apparently.
Yeah.
Also, like, you can single-handedly take down a combiner, like...
Oh, yeah, that was
like, really?
That's the one.
That is not consistent of how combiners have been portrayed in this continuity previously, to say the least.
Yeah. So...
Like, actually, yeah, just... Defensor is tiny in this. ITW Combiner's mass shift. He should be just massive and not fit, actually, yeah, like, normally, like, an ITW Combiner would have, like, mass shifted so that, like, their entire lower leg is about the same height as the cargo bay.
Yeah.
And, like, you think about, like, Devastator in particular, just it's always ridiculous, whereas, like, yeah, here is Devastator, whose kind of leg is a concrete mixer that's sort of, like, 10 stories tall.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they were taller than buildings back in Combiner Wars, and so, yeah, they really... It's just... Honestly, this issue, I think, I think the best way to sum it up is just that it is the worst excesses of Lost Sight, just all compounded into a thoroughly unsatisfying conclusion for the best story arc.
Sweet tragedy porn is Lost Light's go-to thing nowadays.
Yeah.
And so, but then I don't know, is this issue actually supposed to be tragedy porn? Because I'm pretty sure James Roberts thinks that no one cares about Rook or Mirage. It's like, look, yes, I killed this guy. Hilarious.
Yeah. And it's not even that Rook had a character, because I mean, I had my version of Rook, who was a stoic guy who would not say literally anything, and I mean the first issue of the Mutineers Trilogy already threw that out. But it's like, it's this idea that there was this potential character that there, and in general, like in terms of stuff like this, I'm kind of against the idea of character death in the first place, because why take away the ability to tell stories about characters who have this long history and still have stories to tell? And that's why I was so mad when, like, I read it, and it's like, really, you're going to kill off all the Protectobots except for First Aid, who was the only one who had, because he was one of your babies, who was actually doing stuff earlier in the series. It's like, to me, that's a waste of potential, and I don't want to see. And I want to see characters have stories, not get their stories that were never told cut short because a creator didn't care about them.
Well, yeah. Well, I think Rook especially is especially irritating because this is literally coming from the guy who sort of effectively kind of made his name on Transformers, because like before Morph Meets the Eye, like Last Stand of the Wreckers even, made his name taking random nobody toys that didn't have any fiction and making you care about them.
Oh, yeah.
And here we get a very fresh random nobody toy with no fiction, and we just kill him instead. And like, Guy Roberts. I wanted Rook to be my new favourite character. I wanted someone to make Rook my new favourite character.
Mm-hmm.
He's a fantastic toy, definitely. Like, I love that Rook toy. I wanted some fiction to enhance my enjoyment of the Rook toy further. And he got like one issue of like saying some things briefly in a bar, and then he's dead. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So the Ambula. Like, I guess I have to accept, though, there are probably people out there who love Ambulon as a character for some reason, despite the fact that he barely ever was really a character outside of the original two-parter he was in. But,
but I mean, that's saying Ambulon at least had way more appearances than Rook did. He had more dialogue than Rook did. You know. But
yeah, just I think more than the deaths, though, it just irritates me that this three-parter basically didn't go anywhere. We got the sort of Utopia reveal at the end.
Yeah, I mean,
well, I guess it has gone somewhere in that. Yeah, we now know that Getaway has a sort of legion of previous smaller meets the eye villains at his disposal.
Yeah, and I will say, it's like, even though he was said to have an affinity for the Matrix, this was, the only other thing this really accomplished was outright stating that Getaway is a, egomaniac who wants to be a Prime. I mean, they're really, but yeah, it's on the whole, outside of the deaths and outside of that, which, we kind of already knew that Getaway was an egomaniac and control freak, it really did, the only thing accomplished was the deaths. There's nothing, this trilogy brought us nothing really that insightful.
Yeah, and I mean, again, to stress, I wasn't expecting a conclusion to the Getaway story. But yeah,
no, we knew there was going to be a final confrontation with Rodimus.
But yeah, I don't know. I was just expecting something more to happen than just sort of Getaway sort of mugging for the camera about how evil he is, essentially. I don't know. Yeah,
right. So
it's just it's a pity because I had been enjoying the storyline and I'd been hoping we'd get a satisfying conclusion to it, but instead it's we got this. That I think does sum up my reaction to this issue, which is oh dear.
Yeah. But yeah, that I think that'll just about wrap us up for this episode of Action and Adventure. So
yeah,
Callum, what is coming down the pipeline next week?
Next fortnight it looks like we have just got Transformers vs. Visionaries #1. So it'll probably be that and some Ranked we will be doing next episode, I imagine.
Yes, because we only have one comic next week, actually for the next
next fortnight.
Yeah. So we will be doing another Ranked segment. So, of course, of our, Hasbro Universe Ranked. So if you have any stories that you want to see us rank, remember that at max submission is 3. They have to be a year old. Get them to us either via our AllSpark thread, via our Twitter with the hashtag RankedSubmit, or with our email, HasbroUniversePodcast@gmail.com, and include rank submission in somewhere in your subject. But thank you all for listening to another episode of Action and Adventure, the Hasbro Universe Podcast. Callum, where can our listeners find more of you on the internet?
I can be found on Twitter, Tumblr, forums like AllSpark, well, mostly just AllSpark, occasionally on TFW. TF Wiki, IDW Hasbro Wiki, probably other places that I can't think of right now, all under the username Jalaguy, Jala Guy.
And of course, you can find me on Twitter at DanielAtkinsPRD, and I'm around the AllSpark and other such, the TF Wiki, IDW Hasbro Wiki. And of course, if you want to, if you want to find more episodes of our podcast, you can check us out at Libsyn at HasbroUniverse.Libsyn.com. You can find us on iTunes, and while you're on iTunes, leave us a review. It's one of the best ways you can help us out. We're also on Google Play, on YouTube, and I'm trying to get us on Spotify. So we'll see how that goes. And of course, you can follow our social medias with our Twitter page at Hasbro U Podcast. You can also find us on Tumblr at HasbroUniversePodcast.tumblr.com. That's pretty much, and of course, if you just want to email us, you can email us at HasbroUniversePodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening, ladies, gentlemen, non-binary folks, and we'll see you all next time. Take care.
Bye.